This is Musie's YouTube podcast, recorded at approximately 2:08 p.m., May 14, 2013. Today's subject's going to be a movie I saw a few weeks ago. But first, a big heads up. I will be, again, still going to ColossalCon, so if anybody's interested in that, go to colossalcon.org. So, ColossalCon, if I can remember how to spell that, that would be nice, is ColossalCon dot, I believe it's com. Yes, it is, colossalcon.com. It is June 6th through the 9th, so if anybody's going to the Anime and Gaming Convention as ColossalCon in Sandusky, Ohio, I will be there, so be sure to check that out. And I will be running around probably with a camera, so we'll be having fun with that. It is in approximately 3 weeks. So if you still don't have plans that weekend, come on by, say hello. I will not have podcast material, but I will be indeed hanging out there and having fun. 2 panels are going to be there. First one is Glitches, Achievements, and Easter Eggs, which I believe is on Thursday night. So there's some interesting information for you. As well as Martial Arts in Anime will also be there. And I can't remember my password to get into my email to save my life. Go figure. Registration information. I don't want registration information. I want my panel registration information. Hey, look, there we go. Martial Arts and Anime will be at 7 p.m. for 1 hour, and Glitches, Achievements, and Easter Eggs, oh my, will be Thursday at 9 p.m. for 1 hour. Come on by, say hello. They are both Thursday night. I will not be doing any more panels for the rest of the weekend, so be sure to come on by. I will be around to say hello, and I might be in cosplay. I might not be. I haven't quite decided yet. So, if you are interested in checking that out, come on by, say hello, and things, words, type, and stuff. But for now, let's go into the subject at hand, and that is the movie I saw a few weeks ago with a friend of mine, and we liked it. We thought it was really good. What is the movie and state? It is Wreck-It Ralph. Personally, I wanted to originally talk about how some of the good things and some of the bad things. And then I found the more I broke that up into good and bad, the more I kept mixing main subjects like characters and design. So we're just going to do it that way and talk one subject at a time. I'll tell you whether it's worth your time. First off, it is worth your time. Even if you're not a gamer, it's a childish movie. There's not even really any adult themes that I can think of off the top of my head, so it is a child-friendly movie. Go ahead and check it out. It is fun. Well worth your time. However, I will say I do only have a couple minor issues. The kids won't have a problem, but some adults who think critically might have a couple issues with this movie. First off, the only thing I can really say is that it took a long time. It took a long, long time to get this movie up in order the way they did. Mostly because there is so many video game references. I'm going to look it up real quick here. I should have done this before I started recording, but no! I decided let's just do it this way. And it's not going for some reason. There we go. I was trying to look it up and it just would not go for some reason. Good job. Also, I'm not doing this on my laptop. I normally go upstairs and go on my laptop, but I have the house to myself for a while. My roommate just got a job up north, getting a job that she's always wanted, so there's that for you. She's excited. She's flipping out. I texted her, hey, you gonna have lunch yet? Nope, no message yet. So I don't know what's going on, so I'm just going to record a podcast in the meantime. So, we're going to look up Wreck-It Ralph. Personally, I thought the movie was really good. I mean, I didn't have any problems with it. Directed by Rick Moore. For starters, he didn't do a bad job. I mean, I think he did a really good job getting the stuff together. John C. Reilly, apologies there, Sarah Silverman, Jack McBrayer, and Jane Lynch, who all play the main characters. Henry Jackman did the music. Walt Disney Animation Studios did pretty much put this whole thing together. Props, by the way, very fantastic. It had a $165 million budget and made $471 million, so it quadrupled its profit. Very nice. It has so many video game references. I mean, that's what it is. It is a video game movie. If you're really big into arcades specifically, you'll really enjoy Wreck-It Ralph. It's not a bad thing. I mean, a lot of people will be like, oh, there's going to be so many puns and stuff. It's punny at first, okay? It's punny at first. don't worry. It's not that corny. In fact, it has a lot of respect for its. I feel it does have a lot of respect for its field. I didn't feel in any way that they tore it down in any sense. I don't feel it was a safe movie, but there was a lot of copyright that was involved. There is a lot of references or cameos in Wreck-It Ralph. Bowser from Super Mario Brothers, which is interesting that you don't see Mario, but you do see Bowser a few times. Dr. Eggman from Sonic, you do indeed also see Sonic. You do see Neff from Altered Beast. Characters from Q*bert make a lot of appearances. Q*bert, Coily, Sick, Sam, and Ugg are known as homeless characters in Wreck-It Ralph, and Felix into their game. Felix is also the main character of the original game that is in this movie. I will get to him in a second. I believe it's Felix, yes. Scenes from Game Central Station and Tapper's Bar, which are... Central Station I'll get to in a minute, but Tapper's Bar is very rarely used. You only see it one time and it's done. But the Game Central Station is a really important concept to the world of these arcade characters, so I'll get to that in a minute. We get Chun-Li, Cammy, and Blanca from Street Fighter, Pac-Man, Blinky, Pinky, and Inky from Pac-Man, and the Paperboy from self-titled Paperboy. We even see the two paddles and the ball from Pong, Dig Dug, a Puka, a Firegut from Dig Dug, the Quicks from Quicks, Frogger from Frogger, Peter Pepper from Burger Time, and additionally Lara Croft and Mario are mentioned as in reference. Okay, I didn't see Mario, but I guess they were referenced. In additional references are based on on-site gags. The resident of Niceland and the bartender from Tapper are animated using a jerky motion that spoofs the limited animated cycle and sprites of the many 8 and 16-bit arcade games. King Candy uses the Konami code in NES controller to access the programming of Sugar Rush. We will get to that later. Throughout Game Central Station is graffiti that includes Aerith Lives. I did not see that. I'm a little angry. I did not see that. Referencing the character of Aerith from Final Fantasy VII. All your bays are belong to us, an English phrase popularized by the game Zero Wing. And Shang Long was here, referencing the April Fool's joke around a made-up character, Shang Long from Street Fighter. And Jenkins, a nod to the popular Leroy Jenkins meme in World of Warcraft. I did not see these. I'm a little upset now. There is also a reference of Metal Gear. I think I remember this, where Ralph is searching in a box and finds the exclamation point with the corresponding sound effect in the game. Yes, I do remember that. And a Super Mushroom from Super Mario Brothers, saw it. Mr. Litwalk wears a black and white striped referee shirt, a nod to the iconic outfit of Twin Galaxies founder Walter Day. One of the songs in the credits is an original work from Buckner and Garcia, previously famous for writing video game theme songs in the 1980s, and the Walt Disney Pictures closing production logo appears in a glitch state, a reference to the kill screen from many early arcade games, such as Pac-Man. So there are actually more references than that. So, if you are interested in taking a movie, there are many video game references, and the time it had to take just to get this. There's a really interesting screen cap you can see in Wikipedia. It's not very big. Bad Anonymous, one game at a time, where all the bad guys get together and they talk about being bad guys, and Wreck-It Ralph is one of them. I think every single one of these guys are indeed original bad guys. I know and are familiar with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 of them I am familiar with as bad guys that I know of. So there are a good amount of copyright. It's just screaming copyright. So be prepared for that. But it's not a bad thing either, because I like what they did. And the animation is pretty decent too. The 3D modeling is very good. Graphically, the worlds are fantastic. I like the character designs of the original guys, but here's my only issue with that. Let's start with the characters, okay? Sorry, checking it. Okay. So I have a little bit of time before they come back. So basically, the characters, okay? We primarily see mostly just original characters from previous video games. And that's okay. I don't have any problem with this. A lot of people apparently do. whatever. I don't care. Let's break this down. Wreck-It Ralph. Okay? Wreck-It Ralph himself as a character, and Felix Jr., who is the good guy in their game world. I can't help but feel like it's just ripping apart Donkey Kong, and that it's just a rip-off of Donkey Kong. I don't feel it's a very original concept, and maybe that was the whole point, was it was a shout-out to Donkey Kong and Mario, but it wasn't that big of a deal. I kept watching and going, God, I can't get behind this character fully. I did it for, after I put that aside, I was a lot more put forward to it, and I wasn't as negative towards it. And as far as everything else goes, in addition to the Flash version of Fix-It Felix Jr. game, Disney released a tie-in side-scrolling platform called Wreck-It Ralph to mostly negative reviews. Aww, that was kind of a bum. Ralph also appears in Sega Sonic on All-Star Racing Transform as a playable guest character. Ralph and Vanellope, who is another main character from a different game, will also appear in playable characters in Disney Infinity. Don't know what that is, but we'll let that go. But I like the original design. The designs are good. It's their personality I'm not a fan of. Wreck-It Ralph just reminds me too much of Donkey Kong. Felix reminds me of a Build-It. It's like they took Mario and Bob the Builder and they fused them together and they had a bastard baby, and this is who he'd be. Not that that's a bad thing. I was hoping for a little bit more originality, but it feels like a mix between Shrek. No, not Shrek. The Hulk, maybe, without so much of the anger. He does have a temper, but it's not like it's that bad. Trust me. It's like they took the Hulk and they mixed it with Donkey Kong, made him human, and wore an orange shirt and brown top. But on that note, though, Felix isn't anything special either. It's not like he's anything special personality-wise. Funny story, though. Here's a little bit of some loop-de-loop for you. The way the world works, because I have to explain this before I get into the characters, is that all these arcade characters and all these arcade games interact with each other through a central system. Through the long box hubs, you see those little bars with the electric outlets. That's actually a central station for characters. After the arcade closes is when they can move about and do their thing as normal people, as normal characters. I like this idea, except, and this may be nitpicking, the fact that in order for them to transfer from one place to another is via the electric outlet. The electric outlet transfers them to the central station. For some reason, that really bugged me. Like, I really just could not get behind them transferring themselves via an electric outlet. Like, I'm supposed to be able to just simply accept the fact that an electric outlet transfers data, and I'm just like, nope, I can't take this. That's not, no. I like the idea, I like the concept, I can't get behind it. So, I'm sorry if anyone is upset by my horrible review of that. But, aside from that, if it actually logically made sense, it still is kind of neat, because characters can go from one world to another through the arcades. If you die in another person's world, you don't regenerate, you don't come back again. So as long as you are in your own world, and as long as you're not in the game station, which is what that electric outlet bar is, then you are fine. You know, as long as you're not there or someone else's world, you die, you come back. Well, here's the problem. Ralph is a poor, poor bastard. The poor guy does not get any kind of respect from the other characters from his respective game. He's sad, depressed, lonely, and he wants to make do with himself. At first, you feel like he just wants to be a good guy because he's sick of being a bad guy, but you find out later he just wants respect. He wants for friends. Because really, in the end, and this is what I'm kind of debated upon, is that being a bad guy does not necessarily mean you're evil. I mean, yeah, you're evil, but it's more like a job. You're not evil, evil, oh my god, we're out to destroy the worlds of all video games. It's more like, oh, we're just here to do our job. My job is to beat your butt in this video game, and then we're done. Go home, have a cup of coffee, and go to bed that night. So I really can't stand behind the whole concept of doing all of that. I really just can't, because I don't understand the concept of it just being a job. And I feel like, oh, they could have done so much more with this than just being a freaking job. But at the same time, I kind of respect it, because it's like, okay, so it is just a job. You know, there's nobody really out there to get anyone. They're programmed with predetermined information of how they were programmed. And they accept this fact. This is known fact in their universe that people, no, Cat, I do not want you on my lap right now. Thank you for the appreciation, though. But that universe and how they work, it's just a little interesting. It's really hard to explain for me unless you watch the movie, that everything is done. They accept that they are coded. They accept that they are designed a certain way with certain memories. And code is more like DNA. Fine, Cat, get on my lap, even though I said no. But I want love. I know you do. So basically, in that sense, it's not a bad thing. I can't put too much pain in that. What I can put pain in, though, is the ending. There's a lot of problems I have with the ending, but we'll get to that here in a second. I'm sorry, I'm dragging a little bit, but here's what I can tell you. First off, how do I say this? I just made my mic fall over. Haha, I am so intelligent. Knock it off, Cat. I love you, but I'll kick you off. I don't care if you scratch me with your claws. So basically, you find out that he wants to go earn a medal. Good guys earn medals. He goes into a different video game world just to get a medal. You know, apparently this will prove that he's a good guy, because the main characters of his video game world won't respect him. They won't respect him in any manner. So he says, I'm going to go get a medal, because he's a bad guy. He can't go get a medal. Goes into his video game world, which I can't actually remember offhand what it's called. Hero's Duty. There are creatures called Cybugs. He goes in there and gets he successfully gets the medal, but then he ends up causing trouble and basically escapes in a pod with one of these Cybugs, which is the main bad guys, in the world of Hero's Duty. And basically, no, stop that. Don't make me kick you off my lap. I will beat you. No, I won't beat my cat. I love my cat. I love Wendy's cat. I won't beat the cat. But basically, he goes into the world of Sugar Rush, which actually apparently is an actual game that was actually I think it was an actual game in Japan, but I can't confirm that, because every time I try to look for it, I can't find it in the Wikipedia. So I assume it's not there. We'll get there. But he goes there, he finds Vanellope von Sweets, who is trying to participate in a big race, but cannot participate because she glitches, and the king forbids it because she is a glitch. I'm not going to give away all of the ending, but there is a massive, big thing they talk about called turbo. You're going turbo. It's a term used for whenever you want to go to another world and take over it. And it's when a person one of the characters basically just goes AWOL and just goes batshit crazy and basically wants to just take over a different world, bringing both of them down because you left your video game. And basically what that means is that you just abandoned your game, and so the real world thinks, oh, it's glitching because he's not there, the game's old, so they get taken out. And that will happen to the same for the other game because, oh, what's he doing in there? It must be glitching. Someone must have hacked it. It goes away. So going turbo means you're shutting down not only your world, but you are shutting down someone else's. That's not what he's trying to do, but it gets mentioned a couple times. That does come important later. But hey, it comes along. Vanellope uses the medal that he earned in Hero's Duty and uses it to take part in the race by sending in a coin. King Candy, who is the supposed leader of the world, refuses to let Vanellope participate. She is not really part of the game, but says otherwise. And they go on this adventure to try to fix this Sugar Rush world and try to get Vanellope into the race. All while trying to stop, in the second half of the story, there's literally 2 stories going on, stopping the Cybugs who are now infesting the world of Sugar Rush. First off, the original characters, like I said, are really good. I don't have any debates, problems, issues with them. The original characters from Heroes Duty is very Call of Duty. It is very Call of Duty, and the leader is a female. Props to her for that. I don't have a whole lot of issues with her, but I do feel she's kind of bland and kind of a dick. But that's just her character, you know. It's not like they did a very bad job of that. It's just she's not the kind of character I'd ever want. The ending is... I like it, I'll take it, but I don't want to fully take it. Because here's why. At the end, the Cybugs are taking over Sugar Rush to the point to where everyone must evacuate. There is no stopping it. Felix, what's her name from Heroes Duty? I don't even care. Calhoun, Calhoun, no idea how to pronounce that. She's in there. Felix. Okay, Felix, Calhoun, Wreck-It Ralph, and Vanellope. The problem is, now that the game is crashing, everyone has to evacuate. Vanellope can't leave because she's a glitch. And because she's glitchy, she cannot leave. This is bad. This is really bad. So when the time comes that they have to evacuate, they don't have a choice because the Cybugs are taking over. We actually find out that the King Candy is a bad guy. Oh, go figure. I'm kind of a little disappointed because there's an abandoned world that was never finished. It was a big Diet Cola mountain. Diet Cola Mountain. They actually visit this area. It's where actually Vanellope Von Sweets lives, is in this abandoned area of the game. And what's really weird about this is that in the beginning of the movie, there's a beacon that appears over the main area of where you're supposed to go to accomplish the game that basically gathers the Cybugs, because they're just basically programmed with no personality. They are just strictly robotic, very virus-like. They're not viruses, just virus-like. And they need this beacon to gather them up. Well, because there's nothing like that in Sugar Rush, they are just pretty much infesting the whole world. Ralph gets an idea, heads over to Diet Cola Mountain, fights King Candy. We find out his real identity, which is kind of my friend found that out at the last minute, and she was like, wait a minute. What if this and this and this and this? And I was like, oh, high five. And we were totally right. She was totally right. And I was like, no. It was pretty funny. But during that fight, there's a couple of times where like, oh, he's falling so far. Why doesn't King Candy just dive bomb and go get him again? But no, what he does is Diet Cola Mountain. Spoilers. Massive spoilers. If you haven't figured out by the title, there are spoilers. Basically, there's a cap on the top of the Diet Cola Mountain that is nothing but Mentos. So he's going to crash through it, causing all the Mentos to explode, causing the Diet Cola to shoot up and creating like a beacon-like ideal. No, I can't get behind this idea. I just can't. I'm sorry. I was like, I'm just like, no, I can't get behind this. But it does work, causing a massive explosion in the mountain. Vanellope ends up driving their new car. They end up making a car halfway, 3/4 into the movie. Yeah, 3/4 into the movie, they make a car for her to ride. Saves Ralph in the process, and basically just, all the Cybugs die. What's interesting is King Candy fuses with a Cybug, so it's like him and the Cybug instinct fighting against each other, and it's presumed he dies. There's a massive spoiler about King Candy that I can't reveal, not only just because of who he is, but what he did. What I mentioned earlier was that he uses the Konami code to get inside of the game's mainframe of Sugar Rush. I can say this, is that he went inside and basically pulled her from the rest of the data of the rest of the game. So people forgot who she was. But she's been glitchy all of her life, ever since the game came out, or whatever, whatnot. It's not really fully explained, but she is glitchy. There's nothing they can do about that. But Elise, if anything, she basically gets the nice royal treatment at the end. She gets a lot of respect given at the very end because of who she is. And everything lives happily ever after. Ralph goes through this interesting change. He doesn't change from being a bad guy. Instead, he changes and realizes more about himself and gains respect of his fellow workers, now friends of his respected world. So, I can't get too upset at the concept, but I can't, it feels like it mixes around the concept of what the moral story is supposed to be. At first you're thinking, oh, even bad guys can win medals, which we found that out very early in the story, is that he gets this medal even though he's a bad guy. And then we keep thinking, oh, it's going to be a moral choice of learning between, is it the right thing to do something even if it can mean crashing your world? Because if Penelope, being a glitch, would have supposedly gone through this finish line, she would have glitched the game so bad it would have crashed, everyone had to evacuate, and she would get left behind. King Candy explains this to Ralph, which is all part of the plan. A very smart plan, by the way. And basically, we think that it's about that. There is a certain way that Ralph is treated in the world, and this is where it all boils down to. This is what gets me the most, and this is why I don't like the movie that much. If being a bad guy is all about a job, then why are they treated like shit? Seriously, okay, you have this world concept of all the arcade games, characters can interact, they just do their job, they do what is programmed to do, and they end the day. If that is indeed the case, you are still considered a bad guy. You are still considered a bad guy. Here's the thing, though. Everybody in Wreck-It Ralph's world basically treats him like crap. Like, Felix plays the, oh, how you doing, Ralph? Hey, it's our anniversary of our game. Yeah, we're having a party. Yeah, bud. Yeah, you can come in. Like, they're treating him like absolute crap. I get angry at this kind of concept. I'm just like, no. Not happy. So I'm just not... Oh, that's right, I forgot the character modeled after dubstep musician Skrillex makes an appearance in Fix It Felix Jr. as the DJ at the anniversary party. I completely forgot about that. There's actually more references in here. I could list them off, but I'm losing track of my thoughts. Basically, the way they treat him makes him feel like crap. Felix Jr. gets kidnapped because he's traveling what's-her-face from Hero's Duty. And basically, he gets captured. She doesn't. He does. Off-screen, mind you. He gets captured off-screen. Vanellope gets captured off-screen, too. Well, no. He doesn't get captured off-screen. It's insinuated because he drops through a pit in front of the castle. He gets dropped in, and then you find him chained up in a jailhouse. But Vanellope just basically gets captured off-screen, which I thought was really pissy. I didn't like that idea. I guess the only other original character they have is Satine, who is supposed to be Satan. He's a devil-like villain who attended the Bad Anon support group, but he's not in actually any video games. Kind of interesting. It's the only other character they really implement who's an original character who does not partake in any way of the movie. I did not think about that. But, basically, when Ralph finds Felix, he still treats him like crap. Like, he's looking at him going, I've been looking everywhere for you. We're going to get shut down because you left. Blah, 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 blah. He's like, and Ralph is like begging for him to fix Vanellope's car so that she can win the race. Like, that's all he cares about. Is like, he just wants to get this done for her. This little girl. And Felix will not fucking shut up. Like, he just gives her the biggest shit in the world about how, you left and all this. I'm looking my ass all over for you. And I just keep getting this negative feeling of like, oh my god, I can sympathize with Ralph because he's being treated like shit. If all of this is just a job, and I mean, they are indeed evil, yeah, but it's a job. It's not like they're intended to be bad guys in the first place. And I'm just sitting there thinking, oh my god, I want to kill someone. I wanted to kill all of the cast from that game. So I can't get behind it, because even after everything and he apologizes, it's not until he comes back and saves everyone and saves everything do they then have respect for him. I would have taken it completely differently. If I was Felix and I found Ralph, I would have been like, oh my god, where have you been? And then I would have been, being Ralph, I would have probably said, that's what happens when you treat somebody like crap. If it weren't for me, your game wouldn't be here. We're all important, and you treat me like crap. So, there you go. That would have been, really nice to see. Was to see the that kind of conversation, but we don't see it. We don't see that interaction between the two where they realize we need each other. So it's not like it's a bad thing, but it is something that picks at me. It's the reason why I give it a B+. It's a really good game concept. It's a really good movie, but it's not perfect. It has a couple of issues with the story. The things that I can't tell you that will spoil it, I can tell you that it is indeed a bit of a it's a good kids movie. But for adults who think critically on stories and morale, I feel like it flip-flops around a lot. Felix ends up marrying the what's-her-face from Hero's Duty, and that's cute and all. I guess they end up living together, which I don't know how that's going to work out. Vanellope gets her rightful place. I will not spoil what that is. And Ralph gets basically a more respect. He gets his own home. They use the bricks that are left over from pounding against the buildings to build a village for everyone, which is a really nice idea. But it's got a sweet ending. I do like that. No pun intended. Sweet ending. But it's really, really good. It's just not perfect. So, if you really like video game movies and you really like the idea of a whole community of characters getting together, absolutely, check it out. It's well worth your time. Just don't be prepared for a perfect movie. That's my thing. It is a B. It's well done, well acted. The music is great. The only thing I'm going to mention now is about 3/4 of the way in the movie, when they build Vanellope's car, is there Ralph basically is teaching her how to drive when he himself does not know how to drive. So he has to teach her the brakes, the pedals, the clutch. And she picks up, perfectly. She picks it up, absolutely beautifully. But the thing is, during that montage of him trying to teach her, they play Shut Up and Drive by Rihanna, I believe it is. And I'm just at first I was like, oh, why'd you do that? But actually, I was surprised. It works. The song works for the montage, Shut Up and Drive. And it's just, it makes sense. It actually fits really well. So I'm not going to give it too much crap. But I guess it was something that just, I don't feel like it did too bad of a job. But at the same time, I don't feel like it did too great of a job. But yeah, I can't get behind the whole beacon in the Diet Cola mountain. I just can't. Because it's not like it was a big light. It was just a big explosion. Are they attracted to light? Because if that's the case, it didn't create light. It was just a big exploding Diet Coke mountain. It wasn't like producing any kind of source that it would be attracted to. So, I'm kind of... whatever. So... B+ movie. Some other things you might not have known about the movie. Let's see if I can look. Sarah Silverman plays Vanellope von Schweetz. John C. Reilly played Wreck-It Ralph, the villain of Fix-It Felix Jr. Jack McBriars is Fix-It Felix Jr. And Jane Lynch is the Sergeant Tamora Jean I have no idea how to pronounce her name. Colon, the leader character of Hero's Duty. King Candy's played by Alan Tudyk. Mindy Kaling is one of the racers. Jolo is Markowski, is a drunk soldier in Hero's Duty. Oh my gosh, there's a drunk soldier because he's so depressed. And that's how Ralph gets in the game, is he interrupts this drunk guy, and it's so beautiful. I loved it. Which brings me to another question. What happened to that guy? I got done watching the movie, I went home and I texted my friend. I was like, whatever happened to that guy? Did he ever, get out? So it was pretty funny to see that. Ed O'Neill is Mr. Litwack. owner of the Litwak's Family Fun Center and Arcade. Dennis Haysbert is General Hologram in the general in the Hero's Duty, whenever he gets the medal. Adam Carolla as Winchell, and E. Claire, who is a member of the Sugar Rush Police Station. Horatio Sanz is a Duncan Donut, who is a member of the Sugar Rush Police Station. And Rich Moore as Sour Bill, King Candy's henchman. The cast also includes Vic Safili Jr. Icelanders, Eddie McClurg as Mary, Raymond Percy as Mayor Jean, and Janet Harnell as Dawn, Rachel Harris as Deanna, and Skylar Astin as Roy, Katie Lowes as Candlehead, Jamie Ellen as Frances Fluggerbutter? What? Josie Trinidad as Jubilina Bing Bing, and Simber Walk as Crumbelina de Caramello. Crumbelina de Caramello. Racers in Sugar Rush, and Phil Johnston as Surge Protector, who's actually one of the guys who in the Surge Protector. That's what they're called. They're called Surge Protectors. But there's a character named Surge Protector who keeps checking Ralph. Game Central Station Security, Stephanie Scott as Moppet Girl, a young arcade player. John DiMaggio as Beard Papa, the security guard at the Sugar Rush Candy Cart Factory. Raymond Percy as a zombie. There is just a generic zombie. Brian Kessinger as a cyborg based on Kano from the Mortal Kombat series. And Martin Jarvis as Satine, as I mentioned before, a devil-like villain who attended the Bat Anna support group, who is not in any announced game. Tucker Gilmore as the Sugar Rush announcer. Brandon Scott as Kohut, a soldier in Hero's Duty, and Tim Martens as Dr. Brad Scott, a scientist and Sergeant Colhan's fiancé, voiced by Nick Gramshaw in the UK version. Don't even do it, cat. Keeps trying to jump on my lap and keeps falling over. The film features several cameos, most I've already listed before, but includes Root Beer Tapper, and the bartender from Tapper, Sonic the Hedgehog, Ryu, and Ken Masters, M. Bison, and Zangief from Street Fighter, Clyde from Pac-Man Universe, from Dance Dance Revolution. I remember that. We got Skrillex in there, and an appearance of the anniversary party. Other than that, there are more I think they don't mention in the Wikipedia page, so there's that. Also, production value. The concept of Wreck-It Ralph was first developed at Disney in the late 1980s under the working title High Score. Since then, it was developed and reconsidered several times. In the late 1990s, it took the working title Joe Jump, and then in the mid-2000s, it was the reboot Ralph. So it's been in cohorts since 1980, and it just came out, and I don't know, I can't give it too much bad credit. Before production, the existing characters were added to the story either in places they would make sense to appear or as cameos from the list of characters suggested from the Phil's creative team without consideration if they would be legally able to use the characters. The company then sought out the copyright holders' permission to use the characters, as well as working with these companies to assure their characters were being represented authentically. In the case of Nintendo, the writers had early envisioned the Bad Anna meeting with Bowser as a major character within the scene. According to Moore, Nintendo was very positive towards this use, stating in Moore's own words, "If there is a group that is dedicated to helping the bad guy characters in video games, then Bowser must be in that group." I like that, actually. Nintendo had asked that the producers try to devise a scene that would be similarly appropriate for Mario in his conclusion of the film. Despite knowing they would be able to use the character, the producers could not find an appropriate scene that would let Mario be a significant character without taking away the spotlight of the main character, the main story, and opted to not include the character. Wise choice. Moore debunked a rumor that Mario and his brother character Luigi were not included due to Nintendo's requesting due to high a licensing fee, stating that the rumor grew out of a joke John C. Reilly made at Comic-Con. Dr. Wily from Mega Man was going to appear, but was cut from the final version of the film. Overall, there are about 188 individual character models in the movie as a result of these cameo inclusions. So there are 188 game references. I challenge you. There is a scene with the when they're in the station. See how many references you can find. There are over 188. See if you can find them all. An earlier draft of the screenplay had Ralph and Vanellope spending time going around the game world to collect the pieces of her cart for Sugar Rush, and at times included Felix traveling with the pair. During this scene, Ralph would have lied to Felix regarding his budding relationship with Colin, leading eventually to Ralph becoming depressed and abandoning his quest to get his medal back. At this point, a fourth game world, Extreme Easy Living 2, would have been introduced and was considered a hedonic place between the social natures of The Sims and the open world, objective-less aspects of Grand Theft Auto, according to Moore. Ralph would go there too, wallowing in his depression, and would find happiness by gaining like-it buttons for doing acceptable actions of the party-like nature of the place. Moore stated that while it was difficult to consider dropping this new game world, they found that its introduction to the second half of the film would be too difficult to concept for the viewer to come to grasp. They further had trouble working out how a social nature game would be part of an arcade, and though considered having the game to be running like Litwak's laptop, found it too convoluted to take Ralph there. Line art sketches and voiceover recordings of the scene were included in the home media release of the film. The film introduced Disney's new bidirectional reflectance distribution functions, which more realistic reflections on surfaces, a new virtual cinematography camera capture system, which makes it possible to go through the scene in real time. To research the Sugar Rush segment of the film, the Visual Development Group traveled to Trade Fair ISM Cologne, a Sea Candies factory manufacturing facilities. The group also brought in food photographers to demonstrate techniques to make food appear appealing. Special effects, including from smoke or dust, looks distinct to each of the segments. So there was a lot going into this movie, and I do actually appreciate it. There was a lot of work put into it. Since the 80s, and that is just crazy to think that this whole time that I have been, since the time, a little bit before I was born, maybe around the time my sister was born, was the concept idea for this movie, and they're just now coming out with it. It could have been a lot better from the time that they had for this movie. I mean, it's good, but I just don't feel it's that good. So I will end it off there. 41 minutes into the podcast, so I apologize if this took a little longer than usual. Sorry if I was ranting on and on and on, but I must end it here. This is Megan from Musie's YouTube podcast. The movie got a B+ from me, maybe even a B, depending. The voice acting was good. The graphics was indeed very good. It's just a concept idea with the morals I just couldn't get behind. So if you are interested in seeing it, get it on DVD, go rent it. It is fun. It's loads of fun. You'll really enjoy it. The soundtrack is very good, as well as the little hint about King Candy. So be sure to check that out. It's a lot of fun. I have not checked out any of their other products, so I can't give you any insight there, but I will be sure to check out other movies. If you guys are interested in me doing reviews of movies and games, I will gladly do them. I will be putting up another podcast maybe later on tonight, if not in the next couple of days, because I will be actually doing a podcast regarding my story. I'm trying to get that typed up and going. So if anybody's interested in that, stay tuned. I will get that out ASAP. This is Megan from Musie's YouTube podcast reporting off. And go game, guys, because it's fun. Go play arcade games. There's more to this I could have gone into but didn't. I feel like I should make like a big, huge essay on it, but whatever. You guys get the idea. Go in the comments below and make a discussion forum about it. Talk about it. Would you like? Would you dislike? Let me hear what you guys have to say. I'll talk to you guys later. Peace out. Have fun. Go play games. Go watch movies. I will be sure to put more reviews as they come. Peace out, guys.